Hey guys, Sam here, talking about side stabilizers and side stabilizer mounts. Now, I have gone over this in the past. I've talked about what it is you're trying to accomplish with a side stabilizer, what it can offer to you as the shooter, and just discussing the general benefits. I'll touch on that to some degree here, but primarily what I'm going to talk about is options for mounting the stabilizer to your bow. So some people think that they don't have the ability to put a side stabilizer on their bow. There actually are a number of bows, of course, that don't have rear facing mount locations. So they don't have either a tapped in hole to the riser or a bushing that is of course threaded and that mounted into the riser. They don't have that option that's in a rear facing location. So they'll say or believe, if they've not been exposed to another option, that they can't use a side stabilizer. Or perhaps they think that our side stabilizer mount is not capable of being used in any other location, but it is. So I'm going to go over front mounted side stabilizer mounts and how you would then set up your sidebar with that. Also talk briefly here about side stabilizers in general. Maybe you're one of those people that has never tried one. If you're a bow hunter, odds are you haven't tried a side stabilizer. I've often told people, and this has been true, I think, pretty much down to the individual. I've told many people that once you do go with a side stabilizer, it's highly likely that you will not want to go back because of the benefits in accuracy, because of the benefits in how the bow handles, and it's just simply a more pleasant shooting experience. Had somebody just the other day, about 2 days ago, tell me that he had a side stabilizer on. He'd never tried it before and was astounded at the accuracy, and was his comment, I think, was, this is just too much fun. And I have to agree. So let's look at options here. I have all the parts for our side stabilizer mount in hand. Also have a quick disconnect for the front, so I can show you that mounting option that involves the quick disconnect and the side stabilizer mount itself. So our mount, this particular model, is designed with its own quick disconnect, and that quick disconnect unit of course goes to the side stabilizer. It is not designed with a front quick disconnect. So to be able to achieve quick disconnect features on both the front bar and the side bar, you need to use a separate quick disconnect that we sell. There are packages, of course, multiple packages available on the website that include the QD, the side stabilizer mount, 2 bars, everything you need, the weights to get yourself set up. So let's look at setting it up without the quick disconnect, because it is possible, although it's not the preferred method. I would not recommend it as nearly as strongly as I would recommend using a quick disconnect, and you'll see why that is. So what you should do is really start with this piece right here first. This is the riser bracket module. Let's go with that first, and you'll see real quick why it is that it's beneficial to have a quick disconnect instead of this method. So I just put the bracket right over the stabilizer screw, and we'll screw the stabilizer into this front bushing with the bracket behind it. All right, now that's just barely hand tight at this point. You can maybe see, I don't know if you can in the video or not, but when you go to hand tighten, you're going to be rotating at the same time. This bracket is going to move. So what will happen if you rotate it enough, it's going to eventually bump the lower portion of your riser, the area below the bracket. And if you can achieve a really tight hold and end up with it in that position, and you're okay with that, you could leave it there. I would prefer, though, in my setups, you'll see that I have the riser bracket level, essentially. That limits, if you have it angled down, the riser bracket, that limits how far out from the side of your bow you can have the side stabilizer itself. And that limits, to some degree, it's going to cause it to be very in tight to the side. Now, you can angle it out, of course, but that still keeps the front of the stabilizer in tight. So if you want more of the stabilizer to be out away from the bow, then you need to achieve or try to maintain a level orientation with this bracket. So what you could do is have someone hold this. You could then, well, after doing this, you could then attach the rest of the pieces. You could attach the middle module. You could then attach the quick disconnect module, put all the screws in, tighten those screws down, and maybe have somebody hold on to that portion, and then to prevent it from rotating downward while you turn with your hands. You'll see though that hand tightening is not likely to produce the long-term durability and hold that you're going to want to get. So there's another option here. One would be to use some kind of like, for example, like jar openers that are rubberized, or something that allows you to have a tremendous grip, and then you could rotate with your hands. Another method that is going to give you more torque is to take an Allen wrench like this. This is 3/16, and put that into the button head screw that's on the end of the stabilizer. Now we have a button head screw on the TAP DOA model. We have a socket set screw on the Hybrid Pro and also the Element X. The socket set screw uses a smaller wrench. It uses a 532. So it's a little bit less torque you can achieve with that. But with this one that has a larger handle, you can really crank down. So that's one way you could tighten this. Put that in. The screw obviously can't go past the end of the weights. It's against those weights. So you're literally just turning the entire stabilizer at this point. And that will drive it in pretty tight. But I think you can probably already see one major downside to this setup. Once you've gotten the stabilizer tightened in and it's holding the side stabilizer mount in place, you don't want to take that front stabilizer off, because then you're losing the positioning that you had on that. So you are locked in, limited by that. The side stabilizer mount must be held in place by the stabilizer without a quick disconnect. One more thing you could consider doing here is using a socket wrench with a 3/16 bit. That's what I recommend be used for the junction points on the side stabilizer mount itself. Now, that being said, you can definitely over tighten these and they can seize up over time. So you want to be careful. I don't have a specific recommendation on the amount of foot-pounds of torque because it's just not really in our best interest probably to throw that out there. It might dissuade some people from buying the product. They may not have a torque wrench. They may not feel comfortable trying to achieve a certain spec. So I just say, you know, do this very incremental if you're going to use a socket wrench. I use a 1/4 inch drive, and it's just like one click at a time. Click, tighten, click, tighten. You're going very slow. You're getting a lot of torque though when you do that. You could also, of course, tighten the stabilizer itself down from the front with that wrench. But I'm going to discount that as really the best. Well, we already said it's not the best. I'm going to discount that as in my opinion, not being a viable option. I really don't like this orientation. So we'll take this off because I think long term, vibration, etc., you're going to get loosening. You're not going to be able to feel confident that it's going to maintain the positioning that you want or that you need for your bow. So really the best option then would be this. So if you're going from the front, and there are other reasons why you could have to mount from the front. One would be the classification that you're in for competition purposes. Bow hunting class, in some cases, some organizations require that both stabilizers originate from the same point of contact on the bow. Well, in that case, you would have to use a front mount. There could be some other reasons why. Some people may just prefer it. I've said though in other videos, and I will stay with this opinion, is that this location, this lower location, if you have it, is ideal, is preferred, is going to give you more benefit from the given amount of weight that you have and from the given length that you've selected for your side stabilizer. You will get more out of it if you are in that lower location. All right, so let's put quick disconnect in place. And once again, real quick, you will see here why this is a better option. You're going to have the same problem in terms of the bracket wanting to rotate, but it won't go very far. It doesn't go very far before it stops. You might need to get somebody to hold on to it again. I found that I can actually do it myself. If I get it level, then really anchor my hand in underneath, and then get a lever. Now, this is a very short lever, small carbon rod that I've been using, and it's beat up, but it's ideal because it won't mar the inside of the quick disconnect opening, but it provides just enough leverage to rotate the quick disconnect. but not necessarily over-rotate it. Because you can achieve a lot more torque than you think with a lever like this. So you can rotate down and apply a good bit of pressure right there. And this bracket's pretty level. It looks really good. So at that point, you have your quick disconnect mounted, you have your side stabilizer bracket, your riser bracket mounted, and then it's just a matter of adding the other pieces again. So you add the middle module back on, you add your quick disconnect module on, and then of course you go to the point where you're putting your quick disconnect pin on your stabilizer and you're adding your stabilizer. And then the fun really begins, because then you get to shoot and you get to see which options you're going to go with, how much weight, what angle you're going to end up at. Typically you're going to have at least twice as much weight on that side stabilizer as you do on your front, at least. I think it's pretty rare to see less than a 1-to-2 ratio, and it's much more common to see 1-to-3, 1-to-4, 1-to-5 ratios from front weight to side weight. I do believe 1-to-2 is a pretty good starting point. If you would just take the stabilizers as they come from us, you're talking about you're looking at a 1-to-1 ratio. You know, they each have either 2 ounces, like with the tap DOA, comes with 2, plus the screw, which is fairly minimal. So let's say you're coming in at like 2.25 or something. You know, and then on the other bar, if you order a package, it's also going to come with that same amount of weight. So if you don't change anything, you're at a 1-to-1. Not going to be what you would want to stay with. But even so, you're still getting some benefit. I just look at it and say, well, you could tune that further. You could do a lot more by adjusting those weights. So that covers how you would set up front stabilizer mounting of your rear or side stabilizer addition to your bow. So here we go. We got the QD pin, one of the heavily used ones that I've been running this pin for a couple of years now. Put that in, bring it down. Of course, the logo is upside down because depending on what you're setting up here, the logos are going to orient in different places on different bows. That's why we sell replacement decals, one of the reasons why. All right, you can really hand tighten that. That sucker is very, very hand tight. Didn't rotate that at all because that is tighter than I was able to get this. Even though this is very hand tight, this is still tighter to the bow. And when I go to loosen, don't slide the bow too far, there we go. When I go to loosen the QD, pops right out. It's tough when the bow is moving around to really get yourself in a position to apply enough torque hand torque to rotate these things. When you've got the bow either laying on its side or you're holding the bow like this, these QD pins come out really, really quick and easily. And if you've used our QD in the past, you know that it's a very smooth operation, very effective. So here you go, matte look overall. I like this look. It's matte flat. We have our Desert Tan QDs still in stock if you're interested in one of those. So I hope this answers some questions, and I'll get some photos up too of a finished bow with the side stabilizer mount in that front location. I won't take a picture of it mounted with the stabilizer directly into it because, as I said in the beginning and as I said throughout the video, it's not the ideal way to do that. So thanks for your time, guys. Stay tapped out. Check out the website. Tell your friends. Please share what we have to offer with everybody else. Thanks.